definition quality, baby.
Ready?
Monumental Mindsets, episode 4.
This episode 4?
We made it to episode 4, baby.
Nice.
We made it with the bananas in the hands.
Uh-huh.
We got the fake Topo Chicos on deck.
Banana on the cheek, baby. Not quit being gay. But
no, please don't.
Oh shit.
Oh, so funny. So funny. All right, so where do we open this bad boy up at? Monumental Mindsets episode 4, baby. I wish I had a banana in my hands like you.
I have a banana in my mouth. I'm hungry.
You gotta be hungry.
Oh, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I hit chest today, my least favorite.
That's your least favorite?
I hate chest now.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I think that's probably my absolute favorite, like is chest. Yeah, that is like if there's anything that I might have to switch headphones. This thing get a little like reverb in there. But if there's anything that I like to hit more, it's probably chest. It's like chest, legs, and then back. Back is my least favorite.
Really? Me, it's legs, back, chest. Arms are the least favorite. Fuck arms.
Oh, dude, yeah, me too. Yeah, like arms are like I skip those as much as possible for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always feel like I work them out like as much as I can with like chest or like back or something, you know?
No, that's what I do.
You look like our logo. You look like the recovering chimp right now with the banana. Hold on, let me switch these headphones because I get like a really bad echo in the back.
Yeah, go ahead. Parky, come here. Got banana all over my beard. That's what you want? You want the bananas? You want the bananas?
Oh yeah, much better.
There you go.
Much better.
All right. Well, speaking of looking out titties, man, there's a quote by David Goggins I got up. I kind of want to bring up.
Yes, sir.
Motivation is crap. Motivation comes and goes. When you're driven, whatever's in front of you will get destroyed. Right. So you're not always going to be motivated to do something, right? But when you got that goal in front of you and that desire to get that goal, you're going to get there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about titties. I'm not going to be motivated to work out my titties, but when I get to the gym and if I know I want to have like a well-balanced body, right? I got to do chest, right? So the desire to have like the well-balanced body, this and that, I'm gonna have to do chest. So what I'm saying is like motivation, right? It's not always going to be there. You're not going to wake up at 5 a.m. and be like, I'm so motivated to wake up at 5 a.m., right? But you're going to have that desire and you're going to be driven, right? And you're going to destroy everything in front of you. So I like that quote. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I like that because, I think for the most part, like I really think that being motivated is probably one of the things that I think hurt people the most is like,
right.
Because when you break it down, right, it's like how motivated and for how long are you going to be motivated for, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that this is where discipline, I really think that this is where like discipline kind of like meets the pavement where you're like, okay, because like you're going to be motivated for 30 seconds, maybe not 30 seconds, but you'll be motivated for the day to go to the gym, right? Or you'll be motivated for, maybe a week or whatever, right? But if you don't encapsulate like discipline inside of whatever endeavor that you're in, like it's never going to go anywhere, right? Like it's always just going to stay where it's going to come and go because motivation comes and goes, right? But I think being driven and being disciplined in whatever you're doing, I think this is what the caveat is for that most people miss, right? Myself included. I guess I shouldn't say most people. I should say myself included, right? Or myself for this, because like when I'm motivated.
Alexa, stop. Did you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I muted it. Oh, and Alexa's telling me to go to bed. Let me go tell it no.
She's like, "It's bedtime."
Alexa, stop. All right,
So funny.
Alexa, stop.
Um, but I I was just like, "What, Alexa?" But, yeah, I think that, I think that's where most people, make the mistake, right? Is they think that they just need to be motivated to do something, but you actually need to be disciplined in that, and you need to,
Yeah,
like, learn how to be driven, to do something as opposed to just, saying, "I'm motivated now," because that motivation is gonna go away.
right. Yeah, motivation comes and goes, right? And it's anything you do in life. You go when you go, whether you're working, whether you're going to school, whether you're working out, everything. You're not gonna have motivation every single day, right? Like when I was in school, I don't have motivation to do my homework every damn day, but I had the discipline to sit down and do it and get it done, right? And learn what I needed to learn.
Mhm.
When I go to work, right, I'm not motivated every single day to be like, I can't fucking wait to do this work. No, but I might be disciplined enough to get it done, right? So motivation is not always going to be there. There's days you're going to be like, fuck yeah, I'm motivated. There's going to be the days like, oh, I don't want to do this. But that's when you got to even be more, driven and stick. That's why you got to, know what you want at the end of the day because you're so driven and you want that, right? I think we talked about
Mhm.
before knowing your why, right? If you know your why, you desire that why, right? And you're never gonna stop no matter how you feel. So motivation doesn't play a factor. Motivation's a load of crap.
Yeah, yeah, and I think consistency too, right?
Yes,
Like,
consistency.
with anything that, like, you do, it's like if you don't have the consistency, if you don't have, like, the drive for that thing, if you don't have, like, because you can even be driven for something, right? But unless you
Yeah,
keep showing up to that thing, right? Like, you can be so fucking driven for, like, just the best body of all time or, like,
yeah,
summertime abs or something, right? But, like, if you don't keep showing up for that, like you can take all that drive and throw it out the window because, that whatever you're doing doesn't care unless you show up every day for it.
right. Yeah, and that comes with creating your habits, right? And to get into habits, read the book Atomic Habits, great book. I'm not gonna go into detail about it, but getting rid of your old bad habits that don't align with what you want to do, and replacing them with habits that will get you to your goal, right? And sticking to those habits consistently and tracking that. If there's something you need to do every single day, you make sure you do it every single day. And if you miss a day, you don't miss it 2 days in a row. Make sure you do it the
Mhm.
next day. Because once you miss it 2 days in a row, 3 days, now that becomes a habit of missing it, right? So you want to not, if you do miss a day, it's going to happen. No one's perfect, right? But you got to make sure that very next day you're going to do it. So,
Mhm.
because you don't want to have inaction become the habit,
Mm. Yeah, well said, well said.
right? Like
And,
if I have a workout plan, sorry,
no, no, go
but
ahead. No, no.
if I have like a workout plan, right, and I work out, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever days, it doesn't matter. But I set a workout plan for myself, right, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna miss this day because something came up. Now I'm gonna million% make sure I'm not gonna miss the next day on my schedule, right? Because if I miss 2 days, and that's gonna become more of a habit, right? Because it's okay, I'll miss another one, I missed another day, and then
Mhm.
now not working out is my new habit, right? So whenever you have that habit solidified and you making sure you're doing it every day, like I said, no one's perfect. So you miss one day, you got to make sure you hit it the next day. And yeah, just stay consistent. I mean, consistency is key.
Yeah, I heard this really cool thing one time in a podcast. I was listening to some stuff about like I think it was like diet or nutrition or something. And somebody said something, they were just like somebody asked a question, they're just like, "Hey, they're like I fell off of my diet. When's the best time to start?" And the guy was like he's like if you like eat a don't he's like you've been really consistent with your diet and you eat a donut and like you've been eating just like trash for like the whole day or whatever. He's like, and you want to get back on like your diet or whatever, or you want to get back on like your healthy eating. He's like, the best way to do that is just start with your next meal, right?
Yeah,
It's like, and it's like you can't be like, next week I'm gonna do this because then you'll have an entire other week filled with 3 days or 3 meals a day or 4 meals a day of just plopping garbage inside of your meat machine And then you're just like, yeah, well, next week I'll get back on my diet or whatever. But
Yeah,
it's not like that. It's just like, no, you start it's like you start with your next meal. Like
yeah,
if that's what you want to do, right? If that's
yeah.
the goal that is aligned with you right now, like you
Mhm.
just start with the next thing.
Yeah, I
Like,
think I read something on that today. I don't know if it was in the Level Up book. I was rereading that one. But yeah, you don't want to overthink your actions or procrastinate on your actions. You got to start now, right?
mm,
Once you have it in your mind, start now. You know, if you say, "Oh, I'm going to start budgeting," start right now. Don't be like, "Oh, I
mhm,
haven't budgeted in years." You're not gonna wait a week, and then it's gonna go off your mind, right? And you're not gonna think about it. But
mhm.
once you have it set and what you want to do, start it right now. Like us doing this podcast, we weren't prepared to do a podcast, but it's our goal,
Yeah.
start doing it. We said, fuck it, let's jump on it and start doing it, right? And then each time we do it, we get better and better. We learn from certain things, and the only way to learn is by doing it, right? You can do research on it, you can plan it out, you can do this, but you learn more by making the mistakes. Not even mistakes, but by doing it. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect, and you learn from that, right? The more you do it, the more you learn, and you're going to get better. It's just like you know anything. If I play baseball, for example, if I think about baseball, oh, this and that, I think about a new pitch I want to start throwing. I want to throw a split finger fastball, or whatever. I'm thinking about it, like, oh, when should I start throwing it? This and that. I'm imagining it. Oh, I'm gonna do it. The only best way to
Mhm,
do it, I'm gonna start practicing right now. I'm gonna go to practice tomorrow. I'm gonna start throwing the split finger. Just throw it, throw it,
mhm.
throw it, throw it, and then the more I throw it, the better I'll get at it, right? And if I throw it and it's not having the movement I want on it, now I know what I need to adjust, right? It's adjustments. Start your action. You can always make adjustments along the way. You connect that to anything, not just baseball. And it's um, you just do it and you make adjustments. Just like football at halftime. You see the first half of the game can be 21 to nothing, and you see after halftime the other team comes back 21 to 21. Now it's a tie game because they made adjustments, right? They're out there playing the game and like
That's how the
shit.
Lions got smoked, man.
Yeah.
It's
That's how the
exactly
49ers
how.
came to smoke the Lions, right? But it's
Yeah.
a game of adjustments, man. Just do it and then make the adjustments.
Yeah, and that actually segues a little. Well, we're talking kind of like quotes like right now, and
Yeah,
so one of the things that Monumental Mindsets wrote is that overthinking is an action, it's inaction, and we think it looks a lot like productivity. I forgot to add a line inside of there, and I forgot to
yeah,
say like, but it doesn't, right?
yeah.
Think a lot less and do a lot more, because you can get caught up inside of like this. You can get really caught up in, just like you said, right? Overthinking about this pitch, right? How am I going to throw it? When am I going to throw this pitch? Like, where's my hand placement going to be? What's the rotate? What's that? The rotation that I need for my body to get it accurately into the glove and like across the line or whatever.
Yep.
And the more you think about this thing, and it's not that like visualization doesn't have
Eventually.
yeah, I think that visualization has like a like an enormous amount of value, right? But I think
Mhm.
when placed in the right circumstance, right? So
Yeah,
when you've already perfected the pitch, right? Or when
mhm,
you think that you've already have some skill behind the pitch, and then
yeah,
you visualize yourself on the bump, and
yep,
then you're throwing the pitch. This is where visualization comes in, right? But I
right.
think like this overthinking of how am I going to throw the pitch? How am I going to, where's my hand placement going to be? Get to the pitching thing, and then just start throwing it, right? Or like get in line with your defense and like start defending the ball, or try to get the quarterback, or whatever it is, right? But like the more you think about it, the more you get trapped inside of your mind, and probably everybody that's going to listen to this, because I know that for me, right, my mind is a bad place to be, when I'm trapped inside of there just thinking and not doing things.
Yeah, just do it, man. I mean, and visualize. I can never say that word right, but visualization. I had trouble with that the other podcast, but even while you're taking action, right? Say I practice my split finger for the first time, and then at night I go to bed and I sit there and just visualize me throwing the most perfect pitch, and then next day I practice again. And so visualization can help you along the process, but you don't want visualization to be the process, right?
Mhm.
So it's important, but like you said, the biggest thing is taking action. If you don't take action, it's never going to happen. You can't just think about it, plan about it, blah blah blah, and then you learn more from your mistakes because you can plan everything, right? And then when you finally say you wait a year to start throwing this pitch or whatever, then you're like, oh shit, there's something I learned from doing it, right? Now you
Mhm,
adjust,
mhm,
now you adjust. So it's like you learn so much more by just doing it and making the mistakes. A lot of people don't want to make mistakes, so they look at it as a negative. You got to look at mistakes as a positive, right? Mistakes are an area that give you room to improve, so it's a positive, right?
mhm.
Oh shit, I messed up. I learned something from this now. I know how to avoid that going forward, or I know how to do it better, or whatever it may be, right? And it's as long as you put in the effort to learn the lesson from it, mistakes are great. I
Yeah, yeah.
encourage mistakes. Go for it, make a mistake, and learn from it. You know?
I think that's where what's it called? Like this is where I think like a lot of like gonna turn it into like business or sales for a second
Yeah,
because
go
like
ahead.
I think that this is where like a lot of entrepreneurs and where like a
Mhm.
lot of salespeople make mistakes, right? Because they think that, when you're just learning about starting a business or when you're just learning about, my field is like cleaning services, right? Like when you're just thinking about making a cleaning service or like how you're going to make the cleaning service the best or, how you're going to be the best salesperson like in the car dealership or how you're going to be the best salesperson of all time, like in your, national region for Tyson Foods or something.
Yeah,
Like, you can read all the books that you want to on this thing, but just like you said, until you start doing it, right? This is where like the biggest ignorance debt is paid down, right? Because you don't understand like you can read all about the concepts of selling, but then like once you start getting behind like the sales process or once you start getting behind like the entrepreneurial process, you're like, oh, I made this mistake, learning experience. I
yeah,
made this mistake, learning experience. Make the adjustment, you course correct the boat, and then boom, all of a sudden, like you're in a whole new direction, just
right.
like this podcast, right? Just like the monumental, like the whole monumental experience that we've, embarked on. It's like
Mhm.
all these ideas are just going to be floating and, fluttering through our heads or whatever, right? But now because we started. If you don't start, none of these ideas are ever going to be like, oh, this can be different. This
Yeah,
conversation could have been different.
yep. And actually, it's great. I got a quote up right now too, also by David Goggins. It's if you got to start your journey, it may suck, but eventually you will come out the other side on top. So you just got to start, right? And it's just you're
Mhm.
gonna go through sucky moments. You're gonna fail. You're gonna fuck up. You're eventually you're gonna get on top if you keep on learning from those mistakes, right? So yeah, don't be scared to start something. You want to start a business, go for it. Obviously, don't blindly do things like don't throw your whole bank account on a business,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
have some calculated risk to it. But look at worst. Are you okay? Can you lose this amount of money? Blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like obviously
Yeah, yeah.
don't be stupid about it, but don't be scared to take risks. Every successful person's taken many risks and failed many times.
Mhm.
And it's what you got to do. You learn the most from failures is what I'm at the end of the day, and you're only gonna fail if you start and you keep on going and going and going.
Yeah, there's so much truth in that, man. It's like your own how did you say that at the end? You said you only, learn when you fail, right?
Yeah,
And it's like, yeah, and it's like if you don't jump, if you don't take a risk, if you don't try, it's like there's no learning experience inside of there. And it's just like the
exactly.
other conversation we had in episode 3, right? Where it's just like you just stay comfortable, right? You just stay
Mhm.
comfortable with, the sales pitch that, in the car dealership, it was like, the average person would sell like, 10 cars a month or whatever, right? But they
Mhm.
never tried to like work on what the close was, right? They never tried to sell more paint protections. They never tried to do stuff different, right? They never tried to read the customers different or hone in on the craft or whatever. And insert whatever field you're in, right?
Yeah.
Because most people just stay comfortable in that thing and they're just like, you know what, I don't need to learn anything. And then this is, and I actually thought about this the other day and I'm just like, how devastated would somebody be if just like, some, young kids or not kids or whatever, we're, young men now, but like how funny is it like when young men come inside of the field or whatever and they start to innovate and they're capable of new things that they've been learning like in your engineering field or whatever, right? Like you probably know so much more than some of the older guys that are ahead of you or whatever, right? And eventually those people are going to be replaced by you. right? Like they're going to
Right.
be replaced by people who know more than them because they got comfortable and they stopped learning the craft. They're like, I'm good here, I'm getting paid here, and this is all that I need to know because this is all the job exists, or this is all that is in the job, right? But the
Yeah.
job is expanding, the job is growing, the field is going to get bigger. The thing,
Mhm.
with AI and all this stuff, and new people trying to take that spot, it's like learning is the only thing, and you can only
Right.
learn if you fail.
Oh, I'm a huge proponent of continuously learning, man. I like to learn something new every single day, and because the world's constantly changing, right? And if you don't change with it, you're gonna fall behind. And it's important to learn, hone in on a skill, or just learn something new every single day, right? And you keep on compounding that, and you're gonna know so much.
Mm.
It doesn't have to be something crazy, right? 10 minutes a day, learn something new. That's it. Study something for 10 minutes a day. That adds up, compounds. You're going to be, better off. But if you're, a lot of people get, like you said, they get complacent, right? I'm fine at my job, I'm fine where I'm at. But if you stay complacent and the world keeps going forward, you're actually falling behind. You're not
Mhm.
staying in one spot, right? So not even like you're not growing, but you're actually falling behind because everything else is moving forward and you're staying where you're at. And that's why it's important to just continue to learn, continue to grow all the time. Be grateful for where you're at, but always continue to grow, right? And I think that's super important.
Yeah. Yeah, I think even like with me, right? Like I'm in kind of like a quote unquote like simple industry, right? Like there's not much complexities like to house cleaning, but at the
Mhm.
end of the day there is, right? Because if you want to be like the house cleaner in the area, or if you want to be, the, local cleaning service inside of the area, it's like you have to figure out ways to grow, right? Like you have to figure out ways to expand, or like just expand your knowledge of the industry, expand your knowledge of marketing, expand your knowledge of, because if we're competing with, bigger, more well-known companies in the area, it's like we have to figure out a way to develop reputation. We have there's, and in that there's like so much failure inside of that, because every time that we try new tactics or whatever, we're just like, well, that fucking failed. And, Google guarantee, well, that fucking failed. We just wasted $1,000 this week on doing that. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
but then you look at the analytics and you're just like, well, okay, well, let's try a different keyword. Let's try something, whatever, right? Like there's so much failure, right? And yeah, I think I was going on because I think we were talking about something else a little bit, but yeah, I
No, you're
think,
good, man.
growing, man, growing.
Yeah, continue to grow, man. You just, like I said, you don't continue to grow, you fall in. You think you're being complacent. You're being complacent. You're actually falling behind, right? You're happy where you're
Hmm.
at, but you're just gonna, if you don't continue to learn, that's it, man. But yeah, um, I think let me see. I got another quote to work off of here by
Hmm.
what's his name? Stephen Covey, the guy that wrote Seven Habits.
Hmm.
Uh, so it goes like this: I'm not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions. So this kind of
Mm.
goes off of, right. You don't let your environment like control what you want to be. So how do you best explain this? Basically, when a situation happens, right, you have a choice of how you react to it, and that choice is in your full control, right? So never put blame on the circumstances around you, but put the blame on yourself. I said this a million times probably, but it's so important because you know as the quote says, you're a product of your decisions. I decide to be positive or negative, right? I decide to take certain actions no matter what my environment is, right? If someone's trying to sell me cocaine, I could say no,
Mhm.
I know this is completely random, but you know what I mean. Like it's like you can have like these circumstances come up to you, and people blame, oh, I grew up in a bad neighborhood, or I had a abusive household. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely harder, to come out successful out of those, but at the same time, embrace that struggle, embrace those circumstances, and you're actually gonna be stronger than the people that didn't go through that, right? The
Mhm.
more struggles you go through, use that to your advantage. Don't sit here and play victim. Use it to your advantage, right? And I think actually the more struggle you go through, the stronger you're gonna be. If everything's sunshines and rainbows every day, it kind of goes with you not growing, right?
Mhm.
Struggle to me, struggle is like a mistake, almost like a mistake. But when you're struggling and going through shit, you're you're gonna be stronger because of it. You know, I don't know if you could word that a little better than I did, but
No, I I think something that you said really beautifully is like, you know, that that kind of struggle part that you were talking about at the end. And
hmm
one of the things that I've actually been playing with in my head is like I think that I trust people less who haven't went through any traumas, right? Like if
yeah,
you've never went through any type of trauma, if you've never went through any type of like um you know, like adversity or whatever, like if you like your whole life has just been like sunshines and rainbows and buttercups and fucking, you know, peanut butter Reese's and stuff like that, like dude, like the first sign of adversity, the first sign of trauma that comes into your life, like you're gonna break, right? Like
oh
you're
yeah,
gonna break and you're probably gonna break really bad.
yeah,
And you know, depending on how old you are, right? Like you, and this is why, like, you know, I'm very grateful for like a lot of the traumas that I went through when I was younger and the most recent traumas. Like, I am grateful for those things because I, you know, just kind of like you said, right? Like, I throwing it to him. But I, you know, but kind of like what we're going off of with this thing, right? You decide, right? Like, you're the decision maker for the outcomes of your life. And,
right.
you know, you really get to decide of, you know, your decision, I think, for what happens to you is your decision is like the power that you give it, right? You can and there's actually this really awesome thing that I heard from George Janko when he was talking to Andrew Tate,
hmm
and he said this, and this thing stuck with me for like ever, right? Actually since I've heard it, but it's like there's two wolves, right? And one wolf is in the light and one wolf is in the dark. Which wolf survives?
The Wolf in the Dark.
It's the one you feed, right? So it
Okay.
actually doesn't matter which one it is, right? So
Yeah.
there's the wolf in the light and the wolf in the dark, and most people think that the wolf in the light would be the one that survives, right? But
Yeah.
it's actually the one you feed,
hmm
and you and the kind of going off of like where the quote is, right? But it's like you know, you give the power to the decision, or the power is in the decision, or the decision that you make, right, is the
Yep.
power that you give it. And
Right.
I think that, you know, it's the agency and it's the accountability at the end of the day for that decision.
No, I 100% agree, man. And like I said, I'll touch on it again. Is when you go through these struggles, it's almost like a more of a breakthrough point of you need to become stronger so you can deal with these going
Mhm,
forward,
mhm,
right? If everything's just fine and dandy all the time, like you know, and even that, right? When you go through struggles, you appreciate the good times so much more because you don't know what the good times really feel like until you've been through shit, right? And
mhm,
just going through the struggles, going through those times. Then when you get to the top, you just feel so good. And you see that light, and you're like, man, this is amazing, you know. And it's such a difference when you've been so deep and dark into things, and then you finally get to the top and you feel good, right? If you're always at the top, you're not going to appreciate it. Um,
mhm.
so when
This
I,
is actually what you're saying is actually a perfect thing that I was talking about earlier from Carl Jung. So
uh-huh.
Carl Jung says, the word happiness would lose its meaning if it weren't balanced by sadness.
Oh yeah, 100%. If you're happy 100% of the time, what's happy then, right?
Yeah,
It's
what's happy? Yeah.
yeah, that's relative, right? Happiness, sadness is on a scale, right? So if you never, go through the sadness or the hard times, you're not going to appreciate the good times or the happiness.
Mhm,
It's,
mhm.
um, you got to look at it that way, and every struggle, every dark time, man, you're just going to become to appreciate those good things even more.
Yeah, there was that, remember that one, reel you sent me? I think it was about, like, the seed, right? Like, the seed that gets
Yeah, yeah,
planted
yeah,
in the
yeah.
soil, and it's
hmm
like, you know, when the seed gets planted, all it thinks that like, if the seed had a consciousness, right? And if the seed can think, all the seed can think is that I'm in the dark, it's wet, it's cold, it's scary, there's nothing happening, but eventually, like, it sets its roots inside of the ground, and then it starts to sprout. And I
hmm
think that there's so much inside of that thing because sometimes, you know, like for me, right? Like when I went through like this, you know, horrible, horrible dark time, and you know, I was kind of just like, man, I was like, there's no way out of here. Like I'm buried in the soil. You might as well just fucking close the casket and throw away the key because nobody's gonna open this bad boy up.
Right.
But you know, eventually, like, you know, you understand that like you're just like a flower and you're meant to blossom from the soil, and you're kind of just meant to become something at some point. But
Right.
when it is who knows when.
Just keep on watering that seed, baby.
Yeah, keep water in the
Eventually.
sea. But that's how it feels sometimes, right? Like when you're at rock bottom, it just feels like it feels like you're the planted seed and you'll never sprout.
Oh yeah, 100. I've been there, man. You've been there as well, and it's just
Mhm.
you feel like you're stuck, but if you stay consistent, in your goals and where you want to be, and just keep on working on it, you're gonna get out of that dark space, man. And once you reach it, you're gonna feel amazing. And you just gotta be resilient, man. You got to be resilient, and that builds such a strong character and just in your life, right? If you go through something so dark where you feel like you're gonna give up, never give up, right? Just be so resilient and get through that, and then that'll build your mindset for other things, right? Now you're like, oh, I've been through this shit before, I can handle it.
Yeah, exactly. Parker's still
He's
chomping
squeaking
on the
away, man.
he's
He's like,
all
you
up
need
on
to
that
finish it
bad boy.
100% of the time.
We're gonna put inside of this one featuring Barker. Like
Yeah.
Barker's gonna be the first guest.
uh, well, where we go now? We got
You got another one? I don't have any more. Those are the two that I do. I actually do have one. I have one more. So this is the other one that I wrote for the Monumental Mindsets. It was
Mhm.
the maybe the journey isn't so much about becoming anything. Maybe it's about unbecoming everything that isn't really you, so that you can become who you were meant to be in the first place.
Yeah, I like that.
Right? Like
Tasty.
I think that is well, I guess let me ask you, like what do you think about that?
No, I think it's great, man. Because me personally, right? Like I think I brought this up before multiple times, but you know, in life with all the the social pressure from friends and family and just society in general, you're becoming what they want you to become, right? And you're trying to fit in and do all this. So you're something you're not, right? You're not authentic to yourself. You're not really what you want to be.
Mm,
So you get in that dark place. You're like, I don't feel fulfilled with my life, right? I don't feel like I'm living the life that I want to live. So then you just got to sit back and be like, I need to unlearn all of this, and just muscle through that and forget like who my friends want me to be or who society wants me to be and what do I really want to become, right? But you have to disconnect from who you used to be. I call it like, heal the boy within, right?
mhm.
And it's, when you're growing up, you go through a lot of stuff and whether it's traumas or whatever it may be, and you become something you're not, and then you get lost and you feel lost because you don't know where you're at and you don't you get lost. It's a weird feeling. I don't know how to explain it, man, because I've been there and it's just like I feel like I'm in a dark hole and you're just like, I don't know who I am, I don't know what to do, and then all that. So you need to unlearn all of that in order to become who you want to be, or you got to kill your old self to become a new
Mm,
person, right? And I love
yes.
that. I love you got to kill that old person. Like I'm not that person anymore. Right? I'm not an alcoholic or I'm not a drug abuser or whatever your bad habits were, right? And what you were before. You have to feed yourself. I'm not that. I'm not that. And that's so powerful, right? And you have to kill that person to become somebody new, because then you can replace it with new habits and new identity and everything else.
Mhm. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I love this one, man, because like you know, I look at this as kind of like a rediscovery, right? Like there's like, and just like you said, right? Like there's always been like social pressures from people, or there's been like there's been crews that you been connected with or been associated with, or like they would do things that like didn't align with you, but you would do it anyway, right?
Yep.
Like you would fall into the you would fall into the line, or you would fall into the trap of being with these people because you wanted to be accepted by them, right? Even
Yep.
though it doesn't align with like your soul coordinates.
Yep.
And I think that like, the unlearning process for me, or the unprogramming process for me, has just been like so wonderful, because I'm just like, for me it's just like it's rediscovering like my love of not drinking. It's rediscovering my love of, hitting the gym and being consistent with that, and falling in love with like just like podcasting, or like just, just doing these like creative things and doing things that are healthy, because like I fell into like this thing, for a long time, where I just felt like, alcohol was my life, right? Like being intoxicated was my life, or,
Mhm.
just like, being under the influence was just like this thing. Like I was ready for it. I was ready for Friday drinking on Monday, you
Yeah.
know, and like it was just like a bad place to be. But I feel like, unlearning that and undiscovering and unbecoming that person really makes it so much more, um you know it makes it so much more beautiful, like when you feel like you're becoming who you truly were supposed to be in the first place. Because just like you said, right, it's like, when you feel so lost inside of yourself, it's not even like
Mhm.
you're lost in the world, it's like you're lost inside of yourself. And then you
Exactly.
find that boy, and you're just like, hey, come here, like I got
Yep.
you, right? Like you don't need to be afraid anymore, like I
Mhm.
got you, like I finally found you, and I'm here to take you to like the next place, right? Just don't get lost. Don't get lost.
Yeah, for me, I made up my own thing called the chameleon effect, right? It's like you because I want to fit with certain friend groups, and even like I had people call me out in the past, long time ago, like when I hang out with this group of friends, I act a certain way to fit in, right? Or I don't want to like stereotype people, but like when I hang out with like gangster friends, like I'm talking like high school, a long time ago. Then I talk more like I'm gangster and cool,
Yeah.
hang out with my nerd friends playing Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm talking nerdy, and stuff like that. Or if I'm hanging out with my jock friends, I'm acting cool, like I'm the shit. So I'm just like
Mhm.
molding into the people I'm hanging out with just to be accepted, right? I'm not being myself. I'm not being authentic. I'm just trying to be who they want me to be. And I call it the chameleon effect. It's a made up thing. I don't know, but
I
I
love
like
that. I love that though.
because I'm just trying to mold myself to fit in, right? And it's just you then you lose yourself. You don't know who the fuck you are anymore, right? And it's like,
Mhm.
man. And then, when I took like these last 6, 7 months to just be by myself, have no influences on who the fuck to tell me who to be and what to be, I was like, damn, I can now I know what I want, who I am, and so strong on that. And it's just such a great feeling to finally find yourself. And but first you gotta, I think, honestly, I'm gonna kind of digress a little, but taking time for yourself, right? If you feel lost and you're not the person you want to be, take time for yourself. Don't get into another relationship. Don't hang out with friends all the time and go and drink your problems away, right? Because too many people, when you're lost and you don't know what you want, or you're not where you're at in life, people are like, I'm gonna go drink my problems away, or I'm just gonna go out with my friends so I don't think about it. Or like me, I'm gonna go work out for 5 hours so I don't have to worry about my issues, right? So that's not healthy. But it, you can't do that. You can't run away from your issues. You gotta sit down by yourself. Like, don't let any outside influences tell you who you are, right? Really sit down in yourself. Go like maybe I actually like I think I sat like by the water one day for like 2 hours, just sitting in my head like, who am I? What do I want in life? And it's so powerful. Just sit in that silence and like that soothing like ocean sound, and just sit there and be like, wow, like you just kind of separate yourself from everything.
Mhm.
It's just crazy. I think kind of like when Aaron Rodgers went in the cave and took shrooms. He just kind of. I love Aaron Rodgers, man.
Oh, me too, me too. Yeah, are you talking about the darkness retreat that he did?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, dude, there's a podcast on Aubrey Marcus where he
Mhm,
talks all, so it's like his, there's like this really spiritual woo-woo guy, right? And it's
mhm.
really funny that him and Aaron Rodgers woo-woo, but it's really funny that him and Aaron Rodgers like got together, and like they're kind of like they call themselves like kind of like me and you, right? They call each other like brother. They're just like, yo, I love you. Like
Yeah,
it's this really special bond, right? Between them. And the guy's name's Aubrey Marcus and Aaron Rodgers, right? And Aubrey Marcus was one of the first people that I heard about like this darkness retreat too. And he has like his whole like big podcast about how, like the darkness affected him and stuff. And then Aaron Rodgers went on the podcast and talked all about his darkness retreat too, right? And dude, it's a crazy podcast where like so it's like 7 days in complete darkness, right? And you can get out of this room whenever you want to, right?
Mhm.
But they kind of like you said, right? Like you're just sitting there and you're faced with all your fears. You're
Yeah.
faced with everything that's wrong with you. You're faced
Mhm.
with like everything that you love, right? And then you hate it, right? And then
Yeah.
like you're faced with the easy decision is just to walk out of the room, but the hard decision is to sit there with yourself. And
Mhm.
probably everybody that's going to hear this part is going to be like, I can sit in the darkness for 7 days by myself, but I don't think I could. Like,
That's
I mean,
tough, man. I don't
it
know.
would be really hard, man.
Yeah.
Really hard.
Imagine the thoughts that would go through your head, man. That's insane to have like just in the dark, nothing around, and just holy crap, like
Yeah, 7 days, just darkness, right? Like you
dark.
close your eyes, like it's
Yeah,
this for 7 days.
yeah. Just don't tear your Achilles when you get out of there, you know.
He's man. I was so upset when I
I
watched
was
that
so
game.
mad. I was so excited for him to start like with a new team and stuff, and then
Yeah, I
boom,
gotta pause real fast. I gotta pause because I gotta pee really bad.
go pee pee baby.
My bad.
No, you good.
My bad. I was like, yo, I'll drink 7 waters while I'm cleaning the kitchen. No problem. Now I'm sitting here. I'm just like, man, I gotta pee. But this is such a good
Yeah.
conversation. This is such a good part. Like Aaron Rodgers tearing his Achilles heel and stuff, dude. Like fucking 13 seconds into the goddamn game.
I love Aaron. Actually, in college, someone thought I was Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
People,
really?
people say they're drunk. I was at a bar. I was like 20 years
Yeah,
old.
I can see it. I can see like you have like a little bit of similar like the characteristics a little bit.
Yeah.
You can pull off a really good Aaron Rodgers for Halloween for sure.
But
That's who
yeah,
you should
I thought I was
be.
Aaron Rodgers, and I was like, no, I'm actually his brother, Jordan Rodgers, or
Oh my
whatever.
god.
And then they believed me to like buying me drinks and this.
Oh, are you serious?
Oh yeah,
That is so funny.
I've gotten Aaron Rodgers a couple times.
Wow, that's crazy. You got
But
a cannon like Aaron Rodgers, I'll tell you that. You're
my
whipping
baby,
that arm like 90s baby.
just
You're
to
like
try to throw a baseball, not a football, but.
that's why you're Jordan Rodgers.
Dude, Rodgers is a fucking beast, man. That precision he has on his throws is just.
Oh my god, yeah, and he's off of like the back foot going the
Oh,
opposite way.
I don't care what people say. He's in the GOAT debate, man. He's
He's
he's so good.
probably my favorite like besides Tom Brady. And I know you're like an Eli fan, but like besides
Oh, I
Tom
love
Brady,
Eli.
like like yeah, I think number one is for you is always going to be Eli Manning.
Oh, Eli's
And
the
then
best all time, baby. Because who's the GOAT? Who do people think the GOAT is?
Tom
Brady.
Brady.
Who's 2-0 against Brady in the Super Bowl?
That is so
That's
funny.
logic,
It's
man. That's
probably
logic.
yeah,
Uh,
I love Aaron Rodgers, man. Like I was telling you, like my one of my buddies like is from Wisconsin, and like ever since like I don't know, it's probably like 10 years ago or something. Like he was like, dude, he's like, you need to be watching Rodgers. You need to be watching Rodgers. I'm like, no, like Bears till I die. I don't fuck with no Packers stuff. And then like 5 years ago, I was just like, all right, dude. I was like, I'll give Aaron Rodgers a try. And then I fell in love with
oh,
him. I
dude,
fell in love with his style,
yeah,
everything.
he's my favorite quarterback to watch. I think the best quarterback of all time is Peyton Manning, in my opinion. but um, Rodgers is my favorite to watch. He's just, I think talent wise, he's just insane, you know.
Yeah.
And like I know a lot of people say, "How'd that get up there?" Hold on. I threw his toy on my dresser and he's trying to get it.
He was mad at you. He's like, "Dad, give me
Yeah.
my toy."
But like, a lot of people like, what was I saying? Oh yeah, because people are gonna say Brady's the GOAT, which obviously he's got like 7 rings or whatever. He's got the accolades to go with it. And you're talking about whoa. Mark, you talk about like a monumental mindset. Brady's a perfect example, man.
Mhm.
As much as I, didn't really care for Brady, that guy's insane. Like his mindset. He wasn't the most talented. He's not, the most physically gifted, but his desire to win, right? So that's just
Yeah.
a perfect example of having a desire. He wanted to be the best all time. He had that desire to win, the most rings. He wanted more rings than Jordan, even though it's a different sport. It's just like he had that desire and he was maniacal about it. He was insane. You see him on the sidelines, he is insane about it, right? And that's
Yeah.
how you achieve something, man. You just go crazy for it. People are gonna be like, "Oh, this guy's insane. This guy's, a head case." But like, if you want something, you're gonna have to. If you want to be that top 1%, you want to be the top ever. You gotta be crazy about it. And that's with anything: sports, business, love life, whatever the heck it is, right? You be
Yeah.
maniacal about, it, be crazy about it, and become the best at it, right? If you're not good at relationships, how can I get better and get crazy about it, right? And just be like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna improve every single day, right? Or if I'm not good at my job, how can I get better? I'm gonna get crazy about this, right? And just fucking learn, 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 learn. And that's how you become like successful in anything. You can't just half-ass it, right? And that's just being blunt. You want to be a good baseball player. You can't half-ass it. You got to put the work in. You want to be a good business whatever owner. You got to put the work in. Nothing comes easy in life, man. You got to work at it, right? Hard work. And you got a lot of people that just want everything handed to them, but put the fucking work in, right? And I'm being super blunt right now because I get people that just like, oh, I don't have this and this. Like, put the work in, right? And with hard work, you're always gonna get gifted with blessings, man. And it's I'm a big believer in that because I've personally been through that, right? It's like when I've actually put hard work into certain things, I've been gifted with great things. I got gifted with a new job, gifted with new relationships and all kinds of things because I put the work in, and then these things kind of come back to me, right? You put positive energy, you put hard work in, and you're gonna get it back. And it's
Mhm.
what you put in is what you're gonna get. And you can't just sit back and be like, I want to be a millionaire. You can't just sit in your fucking chair, your hand on your balls, and be like, $1 million is gonna fall in your lap. You gotta go out. You gotta go out there and work for it, man. Like put a plan together. I want $1 million. Okay, if you really want $1 million, you desire that fucking $1 million. How are you gonna get there? What are you gonna do? Work hard at it, right? Put your energy towards it, right? You can't half-ass things and expect results.
Yeah, I think that's such a great statement right there, man, because like I really think that, people always want like the desired outcome, right? Or they
Yeah.
always have like the vision of the desired outcome and they say like oh, I want to be, top manager at this firm or something, or I want to be, insert whatever it is, right?
Hmm.
But, your actions and, like, your work ethic and all that stuff, like, have to match your desired outcome.
Hmm.
Because, like, if the desire because otherwise it's just, like, equal outcome, right? Because, like, if
Yep.
you're just, like, average and ordinary and don't do the extra work, it's like your outcome is gonna be exactly that. It's just gonna be ordinary existence. It's gonna be ordinary outcomes, right?
Right.
But if you continuously give it all of your best, right? If you continuously stay like, for 5 years, if we go all out on monumental mindsets, right? Like
Yep.
we're consistent with the post, we're consistent with the, merch drops, we're consistent with the content, we're consistent with all these things. There's no fucking way that it can fail because we've done something that's out of the ordinary, right? One, we've
Yep.
maintained consistency. Two, we've had like the dream outcome of what our or the desired outcome of this thing. And three, we put in the work ethic to match this thing, right? Even though we're only talking about that on episode 4, which would be a really cool clip to clip in 5 years and be like, look, in episode 4 we were talking about this stuff or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And like if the monumental mindset is literally, if it's like about opening like this mega center gym, right, having supplements, having like a community that wants to be rally behind people, right? It's like,
Yeah.
how do you get that dream outcome? It's work, it's consistency, and it's like the
Yeah.
universe is ready to bless you as long as you're willing to put in the work for it.
Hell yeah, dude. You just gotta visualize it and drive towards that goal, man.
Hell
And then
yeah, I need to take out the driver from the bag and go bink.
But what I forgot what I was gonna say now. Barker, you distracted me, baby. What did we just talk about?
Yeah, we were talking about dream outcomes, like achieving something, but make it like your work has to match like the outcome that you perceive, right? Like
Right.
the work that you're about to put in has to be extraordinary if you want the extraordinary outcome.
Yes, that's exactly right. So what I was gonna say, right, is like when you have goals in your life, people are gonna say this guy's fucking nuts, this guy's crazy, he's doing all this just to achieve this goal, and they're not gonna understand because they don't have that same goal, they don't have that same desire, right? And for you to achieve that goal and become the top at that, or just achieve something you want to achieve, you gotta be crazy about it, be passionate about it, right? You gotta love doing it, be passionate about it, and not you're gonna love doing it, but there's gonna be hardships along the way, things you don't like to do to get there, right? But if you're passionate enough and you have that desire and you have that why of why you want to get there, you're gonna do whatever you can. And people are gonna call you crazy. This guy is a maniac. This guy is whatever. That's not gonna happen. They'll doubt you. And you just keep going because it's what you want, right? And you're not gonna stop. And that's so important, man. I'm telling you, like, it's hard because like there's things like when I was young, I don't want the same things as when I was younger, but like, I'll be like, oh, I want to do this when I'm older. I want to do this when I'm older. And people be like, yeah, right. Like when you're a kid, right? Like, I want to be a professional baseball player. That's fucking possible. People do it, right? How do you become that top 1%? That's become a professional baseball player. You put that work in and that work ethic in and whatever else. People are obviously the odds are against you, but I love when the odds are against me, right? And you
Mm-hmm.
gotta do that, right? And it's just like, never let anyone tell you can't do something. If you want to do it, go for it. That's all I want. Go for it. I don't care what it is. You want to fly to the moon with your own arms, you can figure it out, man. Like I don't know what I was thinking. I'm just
With
thinking
your
something.
own arms.
Superman.
Yeah, right.
But no, what I'm saying is like something could sound crazy, right? But it's like, look at the airplane, right? When the airplane was invented, right? People thought, I can't remember the name who invented the airplane. That's bad.
The Wilbur brothers or something, right?
Something like that. That's why we should know that.
That's
But
not
anyway,
monumental enough.
yeah. But anyways, like, right? People are looking at them like these guys are crazy. You'll never be able to have something to fly. But then they did it, right? And like anything that comes out is crazy, right? Like when the first iPod came out, like, oh, instead of having music on CDs, like I had this huge library on this little iPod Shuffle or whatever, iPod Mini, and I like my whole library of
Whoa,
music on
damn,
there,
the
right?
iPad minis. Whoa.
We're going way back.
Whoa.
You know what I'm saying? Like at one point, that stuff is in quote unquote impossible, right? And it took one, person to kind of have that desire and that goal to get there, and it happens, right? Because everything's impossible till it's done, right? So
Yeah.
you got to find what is impossible, right, and make it possible. You get crazy about it, it's gonna happen, this and that, and you'll do it, right? And everything invented was impossible at one time. Electricity. Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, right? That was impossible. Well, look at now, fucking. Everything's powered by electricity. But it's just like at one point, everything's impossible till it's done. So nothing is impossible, is what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
a strong statement, right? Just because it
Yeah.
hasn't been done doesn't mean it can't be done.
Yeah, I love that. And there's this part where you were talking about where like the other people's perceptions of you, right? And there's a great quote by Doctor, I think he's not a doctor, but Les Brown,
Yeah,
the motivational speaker guy or whatever, and he has this amazing quote, and he says like, don't let other people's opinions of you become your reality,
yeah,
right? And it's like, when people are just like, oh, I want to be a podcaster, or I want to be a rapper, or I want to be, a business owner or something, or I want to be, fill in the blank or whatever, and they're just like, you can't do that. It's just like,
right,
that's your opinion of me. That doesn't match my opinion of me, right? And that doesn't match the work that I'm willing to put in for this thing.
yeah.
And I think that's really powerful, is like, when you stop accepting other people's opinions of you and stop letting them become your reality, I think that's when you start to, uncover the diamonds that are inside of yourself.
Right. Yeah, you gotta believe everything's possible. If you want it, it's possible, and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise, right? And just fucking strive towards it, you know. But where we at? 55 minutes. How much longer are we going, baby?
Oh, babe. Damn, 55. Oh my God. I cannot believe it every time. It's already 11. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Bro, I can't believe it. What the
right.
heck?
It's crazy, man. I mean, I could keep on talking too.
I can literally keep on talking too,
That's
but I
how I was
think
doing like
here,
a time check. I'm like,
yeah.
how much time we got, man? Oh shit. Well,
But
I'm gonna end it with one more quote.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Lovely. Let's do
Let's
it.
do it. It's a Tony Robbins quote. It's what you practice in private that you will be rewarded for in public, right? And this kind of
Mm.
comes to a little bit of what I said earlier of like you really got to just take time for yourself, right? Figure out what you um, what you want to do, but not only that, right? Once you figure that out, go for your goals. You know, have those goals, but don't tell anybody about them. I think I hear that a lot, right? Know your goals, but don't tell anybody about them because then they get in your head and saying, "Oh, you can't do that. You can't do this. There's no way he's gonna do it." Kind of we were talking about earlier, right? And just
Mhm.
doing that work in private, right? And it's just don't gloat about what you're doing. Just work hard, work hard, work hard, and then once you have that fucking multi-million-dollar business, everyone's gonna recognize like, whoa, and they're gonna think you got lucky because they're not gonna see all the work you put in private, right? And it's just staying in your zone, man. I don't know. It's like for example, me. I know we talk about a lot of working out on here, right? But like I'm like the last person to like brag about like, oh, I'm muscular, this and that, right? But
Those meat mortars, baby.
you know, everyone can tell me you should be more like, you work hard for that, you should show it off. But for me, it's like, I've been working out forever. I put in the work, and for me, it's rewarding because I'm doing it for myself, right? And I'm going kind of off topic of the quote, but do it for yourself and not for others as well, right? And I think doing things in private helps you do that. As
Mhm.
um, you're doing it for yourself and not for others. I don't know. It's not really a quote, but it's something I like to say. But because like someone's gonna want something else for you, and you're gonna want one thing. And just being so strong and knowing what you want and doing it in private, you're not gonna have any outside voices on it, right? So that's why I like that quote. It's what you practice in private that you will be rewarded for in public. Um, because it takes the heart. Look, Kobe Bryant put on all that work in, right? It's till 3 a.m. Doing practices, and he came out with 5 championships, right? Michael Jordan put all that work, and he came out with 6 trophies too, or 6 rings, blah blah. Tom Brady, they put the work in. Just doing all that work. You don't need to like gloat about all the work you're putting in, but like
Mhm.
doing all that and then people are gonna say, "Oh, he's lucky." Like people say, "Oh, Brady, he won 7 rings because of the system." I've said that, because he had a great coach, this and that. But like people don't see like what he did behind closed doors, the nutrition, the workout regimes, the mindset he created for himself, and all of that, right? And it's just all that people don't see, and that's the work you got to do in private. People are gonna praise you for the result, right? But they don't see all the work behind closed doors, and no one's gonna praise you for hard work, right? No one's gonna praise you for any of that. You gotta be self-disciplined to do all that. And then once you reach your reward, then everyone's gonna recognize, right? So like you gotta put that work in, put that work in, and put that work in, right? Don't matter what, you can't, be relying on people to say, "Oh, you're doing such a great job," or like, "Oh, get lifting you up. You got to lift yourself up. You got to do it for yourself, right?" Not be
Yeah.
so maniacal about where you want to be and putting putting the work in, man. I mean, that comes back to what we've been saying all the episodes, putting the work in too. And you can't rely on anyone to do it for you.
Yeah, put the work in because, Floyd Mayweather has a great quote and he just says, "Hard work."
Hard work.
Hard work.
Right.
And
No, it is.
and it really just boils down to that, right? It's like,
Mhm.
everything is just hard work, right? And it's like, most people only see the end result, right?
Yep.
Like majority of people that are in our orbit or people that know us or whatever, like these people and when monumental mindsets like takes off and becomes something that's like massive, right?
Mhm.
Because it will. Um most people are just going to be like, yeah, they got lucky or whatever, right? But they don't see, the 150 podcast episodes that we were doing before,
Right.
Monumental Mindsets made something of itself, or
Mhm.
all the deliveries that we would have to make with, shirts and such. Just like when you were doing like the home run brew, right? Like
Yeah.
you guys were delivering the brews like from the back of the car, and I thought that was so cool, man, because I was like, what a great story that's going to be, like, if you stayed consistent with that thing, if you
Yeah.
kept on it, like, and it made it set, which one of those beers was fantastic, by the way. I forgot which one it was, but
Uh-huh.
it was really, really good. And but I always thought that that was like such a cool thing, right? But and the cool thing would have been like if that made it, right? Or when monumental mindsets make it, is
Mhm.
that the work that people don't see that's behind the closed doors, right?
Right.
The work that they don't see that's like inside of the mind, or like the conversations that me and you have that aren't podcasts, like that's all work. It's work, quote unquote, but it's like it's something else, right? It's the
Yeah.
things that they don't see, but the things that they do see, they're just going to be like, yeah, they got lucky or whatever,
Right. I mean, we have these podcasts that are like over an hour, but we also talk about the shit every single day. So it's like this is not the
Yeah.
only time we're working on this stuff, and we're reading books. We're doing, you know, that Tony Robbins summit thingy. Like we do a lot of things, right? And it's like people are not going to see all that. And it's mostly for ourselves, but that's why we do this, right? Is to spread the knowledge and kind of try to talk about things so other people can digest it in their own way and improve their lives, and that's what makes this so purposeful, right? It's like, hey, we're talking about this every day anyways, let's throw it up on the internet and hopefully we can change lives of other people, right? Or just change one aspect of their life. And that's what's so special about this. And then, obviously, like, the end goal, right, it'd be fucking awesome is to have a whole community, have, the Monumental gym, with our gorilla everywhere and merch, and just have such a great community of people with the same mindset, right? It's because it's not just about lifting the weights, it's the mind muscle too, right? So to have a
Mm.
gym and a community that incorporates all of that would be fantastic, and that's the end goal, right? And that's fucking that's amazing. I'm just gonna visualize that right now.
With the chimp up there, right? Just like
Yeah,
having that
oh, dude,
barbell, like,
just oh, dude, that'd be so sexy.
wouldn't that be fucking sick as hell? Just like fluorescent light bulbs all throughout the gym. It's
Mhm,
just like 6 shoulder press machines that fucking hit different angles of the shoulder or something.
mhm.
And then not even like about the machines, but just like the community that's in there, right?
Right.
Just people hyping you up, right? State of
Yeah.
the art equipment, and just like, a whole section for podcasting. And like if
Yeah.
there's new people inside of there that want to get into podcasting, there's 6 different offices that we can rent out. And then,
Yep.
if there's like little, kids from Streamwood or whatever that don't have enough money for like a membership or whatever, we're just like, dude, you know what? Get in here, get to work,
Right.
sign this waiver, and get to
Yeah.
work.
That's right. Yeah, sign the waiver. Yeah, and also we can have like, a library of books that books that
Yes.
all that, just the work out the mind and the body, right? And it's just, you know, there's so much we can do with this, and we're learning along the way, right? So like, there's just so much potential here.
Yeah, I feel like this is something that's just blossoming like day by day,
Oh yeah, dude. I
like
think
it's just
about it every damn day.
Me too, me too. It's all that's in my head. I'm just like,
Yeah,
I'm like, I have this thing. I'm playing around with like this thought inside of my head. I'm like, how do I write this? I'm just like, maybe I can write it this way. Delete, 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 delete. Write it this way. Delete, delete, delete. I don't know. It's crazy, but I really think that there's just like this beautiful amount of like there's something here, man, I'm telling you, like, there's something here, and it's gonna be beautiful, and it's gonna be so cool looking back at episode 4 when we're on episode 400, and
Oh,
we're both gonna high five each other and freaking hit our Topo Chicos, like, with each other, and we're gonna be like, "Man, there was something there."
right. Yeah, man. And it's just staying along the path, right? Because we're doing all this, like, we're not going to become big overnight, right? And that's not going to become a big thing. But if we stay consistent for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, like, you're going to make progress. We're going to learn a lot. We're going to find out like what works best, and we're going to be learning along the way, anyways, with more readings and more conversations and more experiences and sharing that, and just figuring out what's the best way to spread that knowledge, in the community and everything, and having a great product out of it overall.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, having a great product and then figuring out how we let people know about the product,
Right,
right?
right.
Like, that's where I think the hurdle is gonna be because it's like, first we have to figure out what the overall product is, right?
Mhm.
Like, and then it's like letting people know about the product and then making it accessible to people,
Accessible, and
like
then making the adjustments based on, the people that are in the community, right? Like, what can we do better? Because when you get that feedback, right, you can make further adjustments. Like, we're making adjustments on our own, but like when you hear like, what we can do better from others as well, and it aligns what we want to do, that also helps.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Well, brother, it's 11.
Yeah.
It's been a beautiful
Alexa's mad at me. I was
conversation.
go to bed an hour ago.
So funny. But, brother, it's been an extraordinary episode 4. I really think that this is I mean, I said it, like, last week, but I'm really thinking that, like, we're catching, like, a new stride
Yeah,
with,
man.
like, how these conversations are going and, like, how well that they feel like they're, flowing and stuff. So,
Mhm.
man, I'm so excited to, continue this journey with you, brother. It's amazing, and I'm so excited.
Hard work.
Hard work.
Hard work.
With, Floyd Mayweather. That's what I every time I see him come up, like, with Mayweather, because everybody's like, "Oh, Money Mayweather, this and this." I'm just like, "Hard work." 'Cause that's always what he says, man. He's just like, "You gotta put in
Hard
the
work,
hard work."
baby.
Hard
Fuck
work, baby.
motivation, fuck all that. Hard work,
Hard
find your
work.
goal,
It's about
put
consistency
in
and
the work.
drive, baby.
You take one thing from this episode, it's hard work.
That's gonna be the name. Hard work featuring Barker.
But it's so true, man. It's just like, because people are gonna look for excuses all the time, procrastinate, and all that, right? But if you gotta be hungry, you gotta be crazy about what you want and put the work in. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? You can be, oh, but today there's no buts, right? It's I'm gonna do it. Oh, but today I don't have the energy. Oh, but today is a little cloudy outside. I'm a little gloomy. I don't know. I don't feel like doing this. Fuck that. Get up and put the work in, right? And it's just you. That's why motivation's bullshit. You just gotta have the discipline and put in the hard work and keep on working towards it, baby.
Hard work.
Hard work. But on that, let's get off of here before I talk for another hour.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is a beautiful conversation, brother. I love it.
Hell yeah. Peace. Good night. Love.
Bam.